Вы видели, сколько у меня ФС? СБ, известный адвокат, любимцы СМИ. Лидер партии «Прогресс».
I thought you'd end up here. Most people come into the archive room when they're done with a broadcast. That way you can see what you did and how it looked to the public. As you can see, there's 3 sections to the archive. Broadcasts, that's what you've put out. Rushes, which is all the stuff that was on all the screens. And adverts, which is any advert that you've chosen to show. So let's have a look at the broadcasts. Okay, on the left you can see all the broadcasts that you've done. You can also get to hear from the main menu if you don't actually want to do a broadcast, you just want to see some of your past work. Select any of those and click Load Tape. Why not watch what you just did?
Will be taking
When you're
a look
done,
at the
hit
surprising
back.
rise of this spectacularly popular new sport.
Right, click on Rushes and let's have a look at those. Okay, these 4 screens, they're exactly the same as the 4 screens that feature
Corn and
the
mayonnaise?
studio signal
You know,
when
see
you're
if you
doing
make
the
it out in the
actual
past
news.
Yeah, I thought it might increase
The
our
difference
viewing.
here is you can mute any screen you like or any combination of screens.
These aren't my cards. Please tell me these aren't my cards.
No, they're the right ones, apparently.
But this gives me nothing, Jenny. They must see that.
I know. I think they think you won't have anything to say.
Oh, for God's sake, come on. It's a huge day. It's not an...
Absolute bonehead. I don't care, Rob. I'm not doing it. I agreed to do 1 beastly interview a day. I made that completely clear when we started. Check my contract.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Oh, piss off. You're on thin, bloody ice, Rob. Whole wheat, man. Whole wheat.
We're coming back from the break.
Да, реклама это так. Шипи мне. Письмо. Ваше имя Министр выплаты сами Министр. Ваши дети сейчас Министр. Ребят, меня FBI спалило. Ну все, я... одеяло. Подслез. Наверное.
Alright, mate, it's day. Oh, Christ, it's noisy in here, Jesus. Right, hang on, let me just get out some flags, darling. Yeah, I'll take that one with me. Cheers. Right, oh, that's better. Let's get set up and get on with it, eh, so I can get back to my guests. First of all, let's get the power on. You need to get at least the bottom 4 plugs on. Right, let's load up the adverts. You might want to have a bit of a think about it. Your decisions have consequences, don't they? Right, you can see they finally got the old headline system up and working again. The Navision mixer's already in headline mode because headlines always come at the start. It's really simple, mate. These 2 buttons at the bottom of the Vision mixer, you can see they now have A and B on them. And they're to help you pick image A on the left bottom screen here, or image B on the right bottom screen here. It's really simple. This little clock here will count down the number of seconds you have to make your decision. Provided you make a decision in that time, you're fine. And you can change your mind as much as you want until the clock reaches 0. But if you don't make any decision, you'll be
Is a
fired before you even get to make
best
another
moments
choice.
from Peter Clement's
I just want to
Just
say
Abroad,
one more thing,
reminding
mate.
us just
The
how our new
pictures
Prime
you
Minister
choose to
became
show
so
these
popular
people,
in the
well,
first
that's
place.
how the public is going to
Following that,
perceive
at 9
them,
p.m,
and that's going to
Meghan
affect
Wolf
their
sits down
lives.
for an
So,
exclusive
like with the
interview with
adverts,
former Prime
choose
Minister Jacob
carefully.
Hamilton Mann.
No,
And
for
we're
my
off.
sister's kid.
Good luck, mate. If I get time, I'll call you back
Good
at the
luck.
next break.
That's the
Yeah, I'm
best.
coming, darling.
One of those. My friend Janet says theirs gets really hot.
Is this Janet who thinks dogs have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon.
10 seconds, everybody.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Давайте.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge.
Вот
Tonight,
как,
I'll be discussing all the
когда на тебя посмотрели так, будто хотят тебя уволить или
new
скушать.
future might hold, with a leading economist and radical free thinker. With the Assets and Wealth Act on the brink of raising living standards for the vast majority of the country, I'll be asking my guess if we're on the way to a new future. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university and graduated with the highest honours, immediately being asked back to lecture. The markets have responded favourably to Sophia's appointment, with stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snugglehugs. Sophia promises it'll be all the rage this Christmas, but concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong, a marine biologist in Salisbury Organisford,
Когда мой брат слышал, что он не знает, сколько будет 2 умножить на 2100.
have today set off to explore Dante's Taint. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flood technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains. This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely pairing. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together like we always have." Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsley is now leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very programme.
Я не понимаю, кто бы так бы придумал бы.
He is seen here with socialite and performance artist Tiffany Lamore, whose recent show, Snatch,
Tiffany Lebu.
hatched inside my snatch has kept her firmly in the public eye. Could romance be on the cards for these two budding A-listers? And Reva's bodily charm. With advance promising a radical new position on crime, how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more people saying they're scared to walk the streets alone at night, could this be exactly the right time for Advance's new approach? All that, a mega move for the group side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News. In the wake of the government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act, we're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, The Free Man's Guide to Waking Up. Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised. But what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan?
It's all in my book. Alan James is right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd, ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is...
Shamelessly self-promoting? Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't
And
what
this will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camps for hypno-brainwashing, who will be laughing then?
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
Bollocks! What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people. Maybe they've rebranded, but it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
But based on the facts, Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research and the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, Frankenscience and opiates. Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals. They're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
No, of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News.
1 minute back.
Блин, я на 2 секунды
You
опоздал.
know, I think that might do some good.
I hope so too, Jeremy.
How much would you be paid by?
How's it going? Actually, fuck it, I don't care. I hate the fucking news. Oh, bloody hell, I love this tune, though. All right, mate, see you later, bye.
I don't know what she meant by that.
Просто главное. Вот так же хочется просто. Или они сейчас просто. Ну я поняла. И они такие.
Just saying we'll do what I can, that's all.
Oh shit, you will. She's good. You know she is.
That's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody.
А чё их вам так долго?
If that sticks, I'll just
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. In our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads on our desks.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem.
Greg?
We need more support from ministers. What are you doing? We need change at a structural level,
I'm
Jeremy.
leaving, Greg.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it? I'll be at my mother's.
Just hang on. The problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. Well, the affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Hello, Mrs. Judge.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry
servants.
to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving him?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us. Next, I'm joined by Police Chief Constable Bob Peel, a man with a very different perspective on our nation's crime. Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I'm sure we all long for a return to the days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife. Or kosh.
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not a simple question, Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we probably shouldn't have banned hanging.
And to what do you attribute this moral decay?
Foreigners, gays and gypsies mainly. It's all in the Bible. Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, bugger, hang on a moment. Jeremy, a bloody gimp's escaped. Delia, could you give me a little help, please, dear? As I was saying, Jesus didn't like immigrants much, did he?
And just to be clear, you think it's the immigrants who are responsible for the moral decay?
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box, Clive. Back in your box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
Oh, sorry, darling. I was spaying the badgers.
Yes, I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson. Clive, could you put him back in his box?
Clive, you know it's Wednesday. You go back in your gift space.
And whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Well, it is certainly not the responsibility of the decent, good, white people of this...
Where's the padlock?
Oh, hold on just a moment.
Oh, Clive, this simply won't do. Naughty boy.
Clive, I am not having this again.
Mummy, so get back in your room. Naughty, you beast.
As I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay. Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians, do we? Look, when our daughter Alice comes home with an A-, does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3 of her pills and hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Thank you, Bob. Bob Peel there, really locking down the police's position on morality for us. And finally tonight, hopefully uninterrupted, it's time to get to the heart of the matter. Tony Dawson has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault.
Ребят, снова, чтобы не было блокировка, я буду говорить, когда нельзя смотреть. Вот на субтитры. Или давайте я просто уберу субтитры. Нет. Ну давайте.
And menacing a swamp. He's agreed to talk to us today, which is also, I believe, his birthday. Many happy returns, Tony.
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. Can you tell us what it's like in prison, Tony?
Titwank Tony. Hey! Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalization, as you can imagine. And obviously, titwanks are quite hard to come by.
I'm picking up that you're not alone in there, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party. Good bunch of lads.
Okay, well, we're trying to let you get back to that party as soon as possible. First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison helped to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Titwank Tony! I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez. Yeah, I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's try and soldier on. Since leaving custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. There's Big Chris,
Oi, oi.
Little Chris,
Oi, oi.
and Vampire Chris.
This one's, yeah?
One sec, love. Titwank Tony's on the news. Rehabilitation's difficult with the current system, Jez. It's just not set up for it, you know? It's inherently unjust.
It's open.
So, do you feel tempted to... I'm sorry, who's this now?
You are joking. Chrissy Free Bollocks has only got Mr. Fancy, oh.
Titwank.
Not now, fellas, I'm on the news.
It seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here.
Jesus.
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal here, Tony.
Fucking way, Las Bolitas!
Well, we're just trying to get that signal back. I think we... Yes? Tony? Tony, I mean, we were literally away for 2 seconds. How has this happened, Tony? Can you hear me? Well, we seem to have lost our train of thought there a little. Hopefully you, the viewer at home, have managed to glean a broader understanding of the serious and complex issues around law and order. After the break, Megan will be live with some plucky young thespians. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back, everybody.
That went well.
Mate, I ain't got long and I'm quite drunk. It's been a great night. In this next section, there's a bit of music. If you edit in time with the music, you can see the result on the Vision Mixer, and the public will love that. Don't worry if you don't know, you won't get punished for it or nothing. Just try and stay in the groove. Also, one last tip: when the music starts, turn down the broadcast volume. Right, enjoy the music bit. God, I love music. God, I'm so pissed with that.
Christmas elephant, we've got all the seasonal animals. Crazy news, crazy news.
Welcome back. How hard can it be?
This is new.
10 seconds, everybody.
We're going to open on Megan. Camera 2. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome's Black. I'm Megan Wolfe, and on tonight's Culture Spot, I'll be chatting with one of the first beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act, a team of inspiring young people from Scritchford Sixth Form College who today received a grant from Advance to take their play, Hey, Friendship, on a tour of local secondary schools. Welcome to you all. Well, let's start with you two, Harriet and Charlotte Winstanley-Hamilton. Girls, you must be thrilled.
We are, Megan. We're overwhelmed, to be honest.
And I believe you two are sisters, is that right?
Yes, Charlotte's my oldest. I'm the older, more popular one. Only joking.
Harriet and Trey were really the ones who came up with the whole idea. So, Harry and I were shooting the breeze in the cafeteria, and I said, hey, let's actually do something.
So I went to look for a drama teacher.
But she'd been laid off due to budget cuts. Fortunately, I directed a pantomime when I was at university, so I knew the ropes, as it were.
Oh, right, yes, but you're the maths teacher, aren't you?
Yes, that's me, Jeff Algebra, maths teacher.
Maths is really important.
Oh, thanks, Steve.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
As is theatre. It's one of the oldest art forms in history. Aristotle
I
believed
just think that when we travel around all these problem schools and the poor kids see us, they say, hey, I really want to be like those attractive kids. And that's a very beautiful and powerful thing. We touch our audiences and they touch us right back.
I suppose with a surname like Algebra, there was really only one choice of career for me. My wife, Angela, and I, we often laugh about it.
Angela Algebra.
Yes.
We just want to bring a bit of song and joy into people's lives.
and teach people about the difficult issues. The issues in the play are what really matter.
And I think you're going to be showing us an extract from this play, aren't you?
That's right. To put into context, I play a young first year who's having some troubles at school.
Her character doesn't actually have a name, yeah, because in a way she's like all of us.
It's like a metaphor. Maybe she's you at home, or like maybe she's you, Megan.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Put it in, coach.
Yes, thanks, Steve.
Right, well, I'm going to have a little chat with your teacher while you run off and get ready. I can't wait to see it. That's it, that way. So, Jeff, when did you first hear about grants?
2 days ago. A letter from Advance arrived at the school. Now, the headmaster thought it was all a prank, but his secretary retrieved it from his bin and brought it to me.
Wow, how did you react?
I also threw it in the bin. But then, Harriet and Trey rescued it, and they rang the number at the bottom of the page, and next thing you know, we're on tour.
Wow. Well, I think we can all guess which way you'll be voting from now on.
Do you know what? It's funny, because Angela and I don't usually vote. We're not very political. I'm a mathematician, of course, and she's a paraplegic, mainly. But we did used to watch that Peter Clements DIY show back in the day, and so we thought, why not? Let's have a go with this whole democracy thing.
Okay.
And here we bally well are.
Good stuff.
Fucking brilliant!
So, let's have a look at a short section of Hey, Friendship.
Dear Diary, I'm not sure I can take another day at this school. Another day of tears. Another day of fears. But still I walk the corridors alone. Dreading what might be around every corner.
What's around the corner? What's around the corner? What's around the corner?
Oh, hi Gary.
Oh heavens no! It's Gary the Fist!
Gary the Fist! Going somewhere, little first year?
Great. I've been looking for some poor victim to bully all morning. But will this make me feel better about my violent father?
Violent father. Excuse me, I'm late for maths. It's my favourite subject. And so important.
Maths is for losers.
What?
Maths is for losers.
My arm's stuck, coach.
Just keep going, for fuck's sake.
Right, maths is for losers. Now, give me your lunch money.
Double lunch for me today, but why am I only truly happy when I'm eating?
Not today, Gary the Fist.
What do you mean not today? Who are you? Oh, my arm's free, coach.
Brilliant, keep going.
Right, who are you to stand up to me? I'm Gary the Fist, and you're just a sad little girl with 2 gay dads who's all alone.
That's where you're wrong, Gary the Fist. These are my 2 new friends. Vanessa is captain of the netball team.
Yeah!
And Blake owns a motorbike.
Yeah.
But I can't fight all 3 of you, and I don't have any friends of my own.
Take a look at me. Take a little look at my face. I could be you, she could be you, and you could be me.
Or you could be me.
Life can be peachy keen if you work as a team.
It's my choice to be mean. So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Hey, listen up, I won't take no crap. Who said middle class girls can't rap? I ain't afraid of your cruel laps. I'm a mother loving rebel, but I still love maths.
Hey, kids, I'm Gary the Fist. People think that folks like me probably shouldn't exist, but that's just prejudice, and I'd do better if you knew the way that I became Gary the Fist. I grew up on a council estate. The park was hip, but the flats weren't great. My dad used to come home drunk and late, and he'd hit my mum for dinner, he had to wait. Where's my dinner, woman?
It's not ready.
Where's my dinner, woman?
Go.
Don't make me ask you again.
Hitting women is wrong.
I guess life's pretty hard on a council estate. 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 It's so damn hard on a council estate.
Life can be peachy keen.
Yeah.
If you work as a team.
Just work as a team.
It's your choice to be me.
It's my choice.
So stop now, make a different choice.
Listen to that inner voice.
Friendship!
Yes!
Well, thankfully that's all we have time for tonight on the National Nightly News. Join us tomorrow night for all the headlines from across the country. My name's Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
And we're out.
What the literal fuck was that?
I believe that was art.
I believe I've got a 14-inch cock, but it doesn't make it so.
I have a similar belief about an adequate paycheck.
Oh, someone please get these twats out of my studio.
Смотрите.
Hello, mate. I see they've got the store back. That's great. I love fucking shopping. Sorry. Bit of a big night, to be honest. Anyway, over here, that's how much money you've got. You'll get more money the better the podcast you do. These tabs take you to the bits and pieces and sections of the store. You can fix stuff, you can upgrade stuff, or you can just buy really cool stuff to put around the studio. Right, mate, the final thing you gotta know, if you want to buy something, you just click on it and it go ka-ching. But there's no refunds. No refunds, so take care, make sensible decisions. Don't be like Dave.
I'm Megan Wolf. Wolf. I'm Megan Wolf. I'm Megan
А что, можно было? Супермен, диско. Ну, ладно. Этот ролик подошел к концу. Всем приятного просмотра. Ну, всем пока-пока. Не забудьте подписаться, поставить лайк. Это очень обязательно. Ну, всем пока.